Today, the World Health Organization officially announced that this is a global pandemic.
The outbreak is worsening from coast to coast.
Declared a state of emergency in New York City.
Of being in lockdown. To celebrate this anniversary, I thought we could look back and see at all the things that happened during the pandemic and what is soon to come. Also, stay tuned for an interview with Mr. Sanchez as he gives his answers to some of the questions we have about returning to school. But for now, let's do a little bit of a COVID coverage, a sickness summary, if you will, During January, COVID was first found, starting in Wuhan. Come February, this is when the first death in the US was actually discovered. Come March, I think we all know about this one, things began to close. From sports, schools, restaurants, movie theaters. Come April, this is where things really got to get serious with mask mandations and national stay-at-home orders as numbers began to spike. Come May, there's 5 million worldwide cases with over 280,000 worldwide deaths. Come June, 10 million worldwide cases, along with 500,000 deaths. Come July, scientists found out that this virus was actually an airborne virus. Come August, this is when the first prototype vaccine for COVID was being made. Come September, there's 20 million worldwide cases, as well as 1 million worldwide deaths. Come October, this is when President Trump got COVID. Come November, this is when the Moderna and Pfizer vaccine was first announced. Come December, this is when vaccines were first being produced, not for the general public, but for the limited people who could get it, and it was going to the public in the UK. Come January 2021, nothing really happened in January. No. But, like there's some new variants, but yeah, nothing at all ever happened in January. Come February, one of the new vaccines was working against the UK variant, which was known to possibly work around the current vaccines that we had. And now we're in March, where things are finally beginning to reopen, which is awesome. Even states are reopening. That's all I'm going to say about that. And you're probably wondering, what's to look forward to now? And I got the answer. With the vaccine rolling out, we can now look forward to things opening up soon, especially places like schools and businesses that normally had a lot of restrictions. We might see some lifting of restrictions, which is great because I want to leave my house. Now that the timeline is done, here's an interview with Mr. Sanchez.
Oh yeah, so thanks for agreeing to the interview. Number one, do you think like the building is ready to allow more students or faculty back in from now, or do you think it needs time?
Columbia High School is a beautiful older building, but it is an older building, right? So I believe 1920s, early 1920s. So Columbia is ready, and we have been ready for students to come back. We have had freshmen start. That has been paused. However, we have had special education students and ESL students, English language learner students, come in for the past week, and that will continue next week. So March 15th, I believe we will bring back our freshman hybrid program. And yes, Columbia will be ready to go for a lot more students starting April 19th. So April 19th is the date that we are looking to have all of our hybrid students come back, grades 9 through 12. And it will be on a cohort basis. So it won't be all of our students, Peter, but it will be, hopefully 2 to 3 cohorts.
I don't want to get too much into the situation with the school board and the teachers union, because I know that can maybe get a little messy, but do you think there's like a resolution in sight, or a compromise that can allow for both sides to be happy? Or do you think that might keep going on and like maybe make it a little harder to get back into the school?
I think everyone wants to come back to school and just come back to school safely, right? I think with the vaccines being now readily available to all teachers, an announcement by Governor Murphy last week, I think that just makes it clearer that we will be coming back April 19th. I think our teachers are doing an incredible job, as you have seen from last year to this year, with the synchronous learning and getting on Canvas and having those connections with our students. So I know they're dedicated and wanting to return, and I think they will return for our students in April to something that they want. And I know our board is working with them to make sure that we can start safely. So I don't see, maybe I'm just an optimist, I don't see a major issue after April when more and more of our faculty members will be vaccinated. So I look forward to having some sort of normalcy come April with a lot of students. I mean, I'm dying to see what Columbia looks like, even at one cohort at a time. So I'm excited.
Yeah,
about
I know.
the possibility.
So if there's, say, only half the students at most want to go back in, maybe it'll be easier to do cohorts. Do you have any, like, I don't know.
I think it's interesting.
We don't need a specific data, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that we'll have teachers being vaccinated, but I have teenage daughters too, and they can't get vaccinated, right? So you might have issues with a lot of students may not want to come back to school because their parents or themselves, they're immunocompromised and they're nervous about that. So we will still have virtual classes and virtual sessions for the rest of the year. So there will always be a virtual cohort. We are starting to think about next year, as you know, students are starting to register for next year's classes, and we definitely will have like we're probably gonna have 2 cohorts, right? Like all at school, and then a much smaller cohort who will be virtual, and then hopefully we can have all virtual teachers for those students. But we'll see what happens. But we are planning for that. But right now we do expect that we'll probably have at least 70% of our students wanting to come back in April. Right now we have 60-40%. We have 60% who want to come back and 40% who want to stay home. I think that those numbers will change as we have seen the numbers have dropped with COVID deaths, hospitalizations, and just getting COVID numbers have dropped significantly in the past month. And I think with the vaccine, I think that we'll see more and more students wanting to opt in.
Yeah, I am eager to see as the numbers drop. I hope they stay dropping, so that we can have more people come back, or at least more people who want to come back. But I know in January or February there were a few days with teachers having both in-person and online students, and I'd say mostly it worked. Not all of my teachers had it, but I think sometimes it was a little hard with the difference in people at home or virtually. So I'm just kind of hoping it will clear up by then. But of course, it's hard to really properly optimize that, I suppose.
Yeah, I would agree. I think our teachers did a great job in that short transition, and I expect they have the same confidence that they'll be able to make that work, just like they've made Canvas work, right? When they got it like a couple days before school started, and they have just shown such tremendous resiliency and flexibility. And so I'm real proud to be the principal of Columbia, and with the students and with our faculty. So in any case, I think we'll make it work, right? And it's working in schools all across New Jersey in the same manner.
So I know a few months ago, one of the main things that caused, especially the teachers or just some of the public in general, to be upset were some of the safety precautions not in full effect. But since a lot of time has passed, what do you say the school is a lot more prepared in just safety precautions like filters or sanitation?
Yes, I will say district-wide that is the case. At Columbia, we were actually lucky that our building, although older, right, had newer univents in the A wing. So we do have plenty of rooms for students and to move classrooms. So for example, we probably have at least 10 rooms that don't have working univents. So just 10 rooms out of all the rooms we have in the entire building. And so we could easily make that work by moving classes here and there. The big issue at the high school was, though, in February, was that windows would have to be open, and it was just really cold outside. So there's nothing our furnaces and univents could do when it's like 10 degrees outside, right? It just makes the classrooms colder. And I understand that complaint. But now, as we are in March and getting closer to April, that's not going to be an issue, right? We'll have much warmer weather, and the univents do work in that's mechanized air circulation, right? The univents is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, of course, we'll have also open windows. So there was a great animation feature from the New York Times just last week about how incredible just one open window is with COVID, right? And just circulating the air around. So I have total faith in that. I will say, I come to work every day, and I'm not doing it because I'm crazy. I do it because I think it's safe. And my daughters go to school in a hybrid school, but it's a much newer school. But I will say, if my daughter lived in South Orange or Maplewood, we would come to school. I feel that strongly about the safety of the building.
That's reassuring to hear. Yeah.
And we didn't take advantage, to be honest with you, in September and October of the building, right? I think we thought we were going to come back in October and November, and that we could just focus on that and I think the idea was that we would only be online for a month or so. I think now, in hindsight, we see that we really wasted that opportunity to have students come in with the warmer weather, and we're not going to make that mistake as many schools did across the state. We'll definitely come back in the spring and take advantage of it. I think our seniors deserve some of their final months in school, and we are definitely planning ahead for graduation, prom, and other exciting senior events. And that's our commitment to our 12th graders, as well as, our 11th graders haven't been in school for over a year, or sophomores. Yeah. It's something that we really want our students to have.
The senior activities, since sounds like they're set to go, or they're being prepared and to be safe and like in person and all that, will there be like some kind of cancellation or some kind of postponement if it does rise too much as we get closer, or do you think you'll just really try to make it a much more safe environment, even if it's a little bit riskier?
Well, I think no matter what, we will have outdoor activities, right? So, graduation will not be indoors as it usually is at the Cody Arena. We're going to make sure to move forward and plan so that it can be in June, right? So it could be on June 24th. I think it's the Friday, right? That's the date. But my point is, I want it to be that date that we've always promised it would be. And by having it outdoors, I think we can ensure safety, right? And so that's what we're planning. The prom, we understand that it might not be the safest idea, right? Because how do you socially distance dancing and stuff like that? But we're going to envision the prom to be more of a seniors only event, outdoors, for seniors to celebrate their experience at Columbia. So again, we're not looking just to say it's definitely going to happen because they deserve it. It's we're going to make it happen because it will be safe, and we'll do it safely, and we'll do it outdoors. So those are the two events that we have already started to plan, and we're looking to create some other activities like a parade for students around town. So there's a couple of things that we're doing. So kind of to make the clap out be just even larger than what it would usually be.
You mentioned next year, so would you say next year's preparations are going to be like more inclusive or more, you said, like mentioned cohorts and more students coming back, so do you think by next year you'll be like fully ready and ready to go?
Yes, we're definitely not just planning for this year, but we are planning for next year too. And I think I look forward to having a more normal opening to school. We will definitely, I mean, I just know from what I read that perhaps we'll still be wearing masks in September, but the fact that President Biden says that all adults will have the vaccination by May bodes so well for our opening of school and a normalcy. So I think there'll be just a few students who will be virtual next year, but I do believe that we will be open and it will be without cohorts in September. We know that students need to be present with each other safely, but still need to be with each other. So that's our goal. Okay. Our goal is to make sure our students are back.
All right. I think we can wrap up here, but thanks for agreeing to be interviewed.
All right, Peter.
No, thanks a lot.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Well, CHS, as we reach 1 year being in lockdown, maybe reach out to a friend or a family member, see how they're doing. Or not. I don't really care. See ya.